You don't remember the moment it happened. There was no single explosion, no clear before and after. It was quieter than that. It happened in the pauses, in the way the room felt when you walked in the way you learned to read faces before reading books, in the way your body learned to stay ready, even when nothing was happening. You learned early that peace was fragile, that love could disappear without warning, that your needs took up too much space. So you adapted. You became easier, quieter, more capable than you should have been, and everyone called you mature. But what no one tells you is that the thing that protected you back then is often the same thing quietly hurting you now. Because trauma doesn't just live in memory. It lives in posture, in tone, in hesitation, in the constant background feeling that something bad could happen at any moment. You might not call it trauma. You might say, others had it worse. You might say, nothing that bad happened to me. But your nervous system remembers. And the paradox is this: the child who survived by becoming invisible often grows into an adult who feels unseen everywhere, even in love. That is the hidden pain no one talks about. Psychology has a name for what you went through, even if no one ever said it out loud. One of those names is emotional neglect. Not abuse in the obvious sense, but the absence of attunement, the absence of safety, the absence of someone saying, your inner world matters. Children don't need perfect parents. They need responsive ones. When that responsiveness is missing, the child adapts internally, not externally. This is where hypervigilance begins. Hypervigilance is not anxiety. It is a survival state where the nervous system learns to scan constantly for threat. Tone changes, silence, micro-expressions, mood shifts. Your body became a radar. Then comes parentification, when a child becomes emotionally responsible for the adult. You learn to regulate others before you were ever taught to regulate yourself. You learned that love meant caretaking, that safety came from being useful. And underneath all of this forms an emotional neglect schema, a deep internal belief that says, my needs are a problem. I must earn connection. If I relax, something will fall apart. Neuroscience adds another layer. Your default mode network, the brain system responsible for self-concept and inner narrative, becomes shaped by vigilance instead of safety. So instead of asking, who am I? Your mind asks, what's wrong? What's coming? How do I prevent loss? This is not weakness, this is adaptation. But adaptations have costs. Carl Jung once said, the greatest burden a child must bear is the unlived life of the parent. But there is another burden, the unlived life of the child themselves. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that authenticity was dangerous, that emotions were inconvenient, that rest was irresponsible. So you traded truth for harmony, needs for acceptance, spontaneity for control. And the grief of that trade is invisible. No one mourns the version of you that never got to exist. This creates what philosophers call existential fatigue, a tiredness that sleep doesn't fix. You might feel it when you're doing well but feel empty. You're loved but not relaxed. You're safe but still bracing. The core fear underneath it all is not failure. It's abandonment through authenticity. The fear that if you fully show up, emotionally, messily, honestly, you will lose connection. So even joy becomes complicated. Even rest feels unsafe. Even silence feels loud. You are grieving a childhood you can't quite remember and a self you never fully got to be. That is the quiet weight trauma leaves behind. Childhood trauma doesn't disappear. It evolves. You might notice it when you over-explain simple things, You feel guilty for resting. You anticipate disappointment before it happens. They become adults who, in relationships, struggle to receive care without suspicion. Feel safest with emotionally unavailable people. Confuse intensity with intimacy. In career, overfunction and burn out quietly. Tie self-worth to productivity. Fear being seen unless they're exceptional. In self-worth, feel behind even when successful. Dismiss their own pain, struggle to name what they need. In boundaries, say yes automatically. Feel responsible for others' emotions. Feel selfish for protecting their energy. In emotional regulation, stay calm during crisis. Collapse afterward. Numb out instead of feeling intellectualized pain. In identity, know who other